live from the Coachella Valley. Time for another hour of the desert scene. Art exhibitions to modernism, music festivals to live theater, big screen, little screen, and very little screen. This is the Culture Corner with Bonnie Gilgallon and Brayan Mendoza. Here's Bonnie and Brayan on iHub Radio.
Welcome to the There we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Culture Corner. We're almost the end of February, which is great. Lots to talk about. Tons. Great guests and lots of news. Hey, Brayan, what's in the news today?
So much to talk about today. So Lady Gaga, that terrible. So for those of you who don't know, Lady Gaga's dogs were being walked around by this man, and he got shot at, and the dogs were kidnapped.
It's terrible.
Horrible. And now Lady Gaga's actually doing a ransom.
She's offered, isn't it $500,000?
It's $500,000.
To get the dogs back. Wow.
Yes. So she has put out this information about it, and the gentleman who got shot is expected to make a full recovery.
But he's in the hospital. It's pretty hairy, I think. Yeah, wasn't it? I mean, he's not, I don't know, was he shot in the chest? We don't know.
I would say that I think he probably got shot probably closer to like an area of his, probably the chest, but not like an area where it would actually kill him. Because if he's recovering and he's doing just fine, then I think that it wouldn't be necessarily too bad.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that just the fact that it actually happened is bad enough to begin with.
Yeah.
And the fact is that when it comes to these types of attacks, it's almost easy to kind of dismiss it like, oh, it's just her dogs. But the fact is that someone got hurt, and
it's not just her dogs. If you have if you're a dog owner, a dog lover, it's not just, it's like your children.
No, you're right about that.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes to like dog nappings are not even that uncommon either. French bulldogs actually get stolen more often than people like to say.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Because they actually are worth a lot of money, and I think that there's this perception that if you steal from a rich person, they'll pay it up. There's always a ransom.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in this case, like there is a ransom because, well, she wants her dogs back.
Right.
And the thing is that at least we know that the man who was walking the dogs, the dog walker, he is doing better now. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping that he has some form of justice, because that's a horrible crime.
Absolutely.
And LAPD has finally released a description of the suspects, and they say that it's a bit of a stump in terms of a mystery, because like there's only surveillance footage and only so much.
And was it at night? Wasn't it at night?
Yes, it was at night.
And was he able to get a look at them, or do they have masks on? Do we know that?
I think what happened was it was one of those events where they're not too sure about what's going on. I think that he was able to get a description, but I think what happened was, I don't actually know, to be honest. Like, I think that the gentleman, Ryan Fleischer, I think that I guess, like, for me, I get the impression that he did tell them what they look like. According to this, they're two men, and that they were in a white Nissan Altima, and they're described as black men, and I think that, according to this, they probably did wear a mask. But other than that, like, that's the only information they got, is that that they're black individuals in a Nissan Altima. And
if they have some surveillance video these days, they can do a lot with surveillance video. They can zoom in and all that stuff, so that might help a lot.
That's true. I remember I was watching something about how like surveillance footage is both a blessing and a curse, because sometimes because of how blurry it is. Sometimes someone might be, let's be honest, like might be picked at random for a crime they didn't do. Like they get profiled. That's what I was trying to remember.
Well, yeah, that's always a risk,
But it's also good, because then it's like, oh, at least we got something there. And the thing is, though, what was really shocking to me is the weapon they used. They used a semi-automatic handgun.
That's disturbing. Yes.
And they oh boy, that to me is the most shocking thing, because when you watch the surveillance footage, which I would not necessarily recommend watching it, just because it's one of those things.
I heard it was pretty. Yeah, I saw the still shot on Facebook, but I didn't want to watch it because I heard it was kind of a little graphic. So
like you can't see too much out of it, but the fact that you hear like someone screaming and you hear the you know, like when you hear a semi-automatic weapon
he's
go
lucky
off,
he's alive. He's really lucky he's alive.
No, he
if
really
you think about
is.
that.
He really is. And that to me was the thing that shocked me, was that he was still alive.
Now, considering these were Lady Gaga's dogs, I'm assuming this was probably a very nice part of L.A. Was this in like Beverly Hills or some really nice area, I would think, wasn't it?
It was near Sunset Boulevard.
Okay.
North Sierra, Bonita Avenue.
Okay.
And it was Wednesday night, which was 2 nights ago, at 9:40. And according to this, he actually tried to protect the dogs, and that Lady Gaga's father describes him as a friend. So it wasn't just this dog walker, but like a genuine
friend. Had
friend.
a personal connection. Yeah.
And you know, and I think that's why maybe Lady Gaga's trying really hard to like navigate this, because she wants her dogs back, but I think that she also wants justice for
this
her friend.
guy.
And I would like justice for him. It's not, to me, it's not just the dogs, because like obviously, like if the ransom is there, no questions asked, there's a good chance they might get returned. But there is a situation where a man got shot, and
so then I would think that if she's offering this ransom, no questions asked. So let's say they bring the dogs back and they get the money, and that's fine. The dogs are fine. But there's still a criminal investigation that the police have to continue for this shooting.
No, yes.
You know.
I think LAPD will probably be doing its own thing. Historically speaking, even if you don't want them to, LAPD will.
They have to investigate that.
They'll investigate that. Even I think what she wants is probably. I think in some way, I'm hoping that this is probably more of a strategy to try to see if anyone will come forward. But I think if anything, she wants the dogs back to sort of help out the case, which, you know, makes a lot of sense.
Of course, yeah.
But what a real devastating thing to happen. Like, not only does your friend get shot, but your dogs get kidnapped. And, you know, I was going to say that at least for the most part, hopefully, my heart goes out to Ryan Fisher. Yes, absolutely. And, you know, I'm hoping the dogs get returned and that there's justice there. But, ooh, what a story. Because I have 2 dogs. I have a golden retriever, Roxy, and Googie is a lab, mostly lab, but it has an Akita tail. So there's a lab-Akita mix. But I don't have children. Neither Eric nor I have children. There are children. And if that happened to me, I would be out of my mind. I have a dog and a cat too, so for me it's like, I feel like because I don't have children either, which, you know, for me the cat and the dogs are my kids. Exactly. And I think that it's just one of those things that I can't imagine, you know. And the fact is that like it's a lot harder to retrieve stolen animals, because like I've had a cat that went missing a long time ago and I never knew what happened to it, because sometimes when a cat cats just kind of go off by themselves, wander off. Get lost. Yeah. And Milan said that Cesar Milan, who is the dog whisperer, I love him. Yeah. He actually did have some encouraging things to say. He did say that when a human has bad intentions to remove the dog from a familiar environment, that dog will experience a layer of that negative energy. But he said that if anything, Lady Gaga does not have to worry about the dogs being traumatized. That he said, the dogs, once they've returned to their environment, they'll kind of forget about it. Yeah, they'll move on. Exactly. That's exactly what he said. And he said that they'll be emotionally confused, but once they move back, everything will hopefully. He said there's a good chance they'll just live their lives, because that's what he said. Raising a dog, like raising a kid, is all about environment, your parents' activities. And he tries to say, and he also went on to say, dogs live in a very economical backgrounds. Dogs live in every economical background. So like, you know, he said, I think he was trying to not only say like, you know, dogs will be happy no matter how rich someone is, but also the fact is that just the economy of emotions that that dogs live in, like, you know what I mean? I love it that he said, you know, they'll hopefully return safely. I'm sure that will happen, and they'll forget about it and they'll move on. You know, I think as human beings, we need to do that more. You know, when something, forget about it, move on. And a lot of us don't. We hang on. Something else real quick, I wanted to throw it, and I forget who it was. There was a quote. Someone shared a quote on Facebook, and I forget who the original was. Somebody well-known, some philosopher, that said, dogs
something to the effect of dogs reflect their owners and their environments. And it said, if you see a really happy, loving dog, they're usually living in a really happy, loving house. And if you see a really snarling, angry dog, chances are their owner is the same.
Exactly.
And if you see there's a dangerous dog who's violent, there's something in that owner they're picking up. And I'm telling you, I have seen that. I have seen it in my life. I really have. I knew somebody, I'm not going to name any names, but someone who had a really German Shepherd that was always barking and violent with people, and people would come to the house and they have to hold the dog. And the owner had a lot of those characteristics. And the same thing, I knew another dog that just kind of out of nowhere killed another dog, a little dog, just kind of stopped and the dog was. And anyway, I have seen it. I think that's very accurate.
It's true. I think for me, like when I've been in a lot of positions, unfortunately, where I would have to help out a friend with something, like with an abusive partner. And every time like I go to a person who I perceive to be very toxic or abusive, their dogs reflect that.
They pick up the energy. They do.
Like they're much more aggressive and they'll bark at you. And for me, like sometimes when a dog is super aggressive in a household, it is sort of like an instinct for me to question the household. Because I've been in a lot of nice places with nice people and their dogs are the most kind, gentle, and because they pick up on vibes. Absolutely. Because here's the thing about dogs. I'm not a dog expert, but I noticed that like when a dog is raised in a loving household, they'll understand that their owner gets along with someone. Like, okay, that person is their friend, so let me get along with them.
Right.
And if they bark at someone, it's probably a stranger or someone that's legitimately causing harm.
Right.
But I've been in places where like if a dog is treated badly, they'll perceive all humans as a threat. And even then, if they get along with you, that's very rare. And I'm hoping that the kidnappers in this case at least treat the dogs well.
Exactly. At least they don't abuse the dogs while they have them. Yeah.
And whatever their motivation was, getting new.
Sounds like money. Probably they were going to probably sell them. I guess
it's probably money. And I think at this point they probably caught wind of the ransom. I'm hoping that they at least treat the dogs well. And the lure of getting $500,000 is worth treating the dogs well and bringing them back. Well, yeah, because I really doubt that she would give them the money if they were treated badly. Yeah. And the other thing is, I'm not necessarily just speaking about like the kidnappers, but the friends and relatives. If maybe they don't hear this station, maybe they do, but if you know these people, try to get those dogs home. Your friends or your family are committing a wrong. Right. They're doing something wrong. So if you know these
have
men,
any info about this,
contact LAPD, but also, talk to your friends or do everything in your power to bring that dog back. And like Lady Gaga said, no questions asked. Yeah, she just wants, and she's donated millions to the tech, to all kinds of relief. She's donated millions to a lot of causes. She's got a good heart. She doesn't deserve this. No, she doesn't. And your friends hurt somebody physically too. So if you know them, which maybe someone listening does know, do the right thing. Do the right thing, as they would say, because someone got hurt and dogs need to be home. Yeah. All right, we'll be back with much more in the Culture Corner in just a bit.
You're listening to Bonnie Gilgallon and Brayan Mendoza, talking arts and entertainment on iHub Radio's The Culture Corner. Here are Bonnie and Brayan.
And we're back on The Culture Corner. Lots and lots of news today. Let's get into the Woody Allen, Mia Farrow documentary on HBO. And Brayan, you saw the first chunk, right? So tell us about it. So the first episode of Allen versus Farrow basically follows the, I'm going to say, complicated saga. Good, that's a good word. Yeah. Complicated saga of Mia Farrow, Woody Allen, Dylan, Ronan Farrow, Suni Previn, and in some cases Moses Farrow, because he has a lot to say. And there's a lot of complexity in this story. So quick summary.
Woody Allen in the 1990s had after a 11-year-long relationship with Mia Farrow, was caught basically with his pants down by having a bunch of nude photos of Mia Farrow's adoptive daughter, Sonia Previn. And eventually those two got married, so everyone knows that saga. Yeah. But there's also another part of it that's somewhat underreported, which is kind of sad because I think that this is actually the real crime of it was Woody Allen was accused of molesting his daughter, Dylan Farrow. When she was little. Yeah. And oftentimes this story, I feel when people talk about it, they say, well, he married his daughter, but they always forget the other things. Other things too are important. Yeah. And I feel like this is one of those stories that a documentary needs to come out to show people the truth, or at least a cohesive idea of what happened. Because I think in pop culture, a lot of stories come out and it's like telephone. People spread it. And they change every time it's told, it gets changed a little. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And nuances get lost. For example, Moses Farrow and Sonia Previn, they have accusations about Mia Farrow being abusive to them because they're Asian American adoptees to her. So they have their own accusations and they support Woody Allen. Moses Farrow being Woody Allen's adoptive son. What does Dylan say? She spoke in this, correct? Yes. What does she say? In the documentary, she talks very specific. In the documentary, the first episode talks about the relationship between Woody Allen and Mia Farrow and the complexities. And I appreciate the documentary for doing this. Yeah. The complexities of Dylan Farrow's relationship with her father, because for her, she says in the documentary, I will always be afraid of my father, but I'm never gonna stop loving him because a lot of my happiest memories as a child are because of him. It's very confusing, I'm sure, for a child. It is. Yeah. And when I was watching it, I was like, wow, this documentary, everyone was criticizing it for being one-sided because Woody Allen and Sonia Previn did not participate in it. And they were asked to participate in it. And my first thought is, if you're going to complain about one-sidedness, why didn't you participate? Right. Even if they edit you a certain way, at least you're in it. Yeah, yeah. And they do use the audiobook of Woody Allen's memoir in it, so you do hear his voice talk about events. And they're going to probably get sued for that too, because the publisher said that they're going to watch the whole series. Because maybe they didn't have a right to do that, to use any of that? Okay. Yeah, and they want to see how it's used in context. And I think it's used fine, if they have to have Woody Allen's perspective, they would throw it in. How old is Dylan now? I think Dylan Farrow, that's a very... She's 20-something? No, I think she's a little older. A little older, okay. Because she was... Because before I was born, this was happening. Yeah. So she's 35. Okay, so my one of my views on this is if she's 35 and she said, I still love my father. I mean, there are people, if you're, when kids are still little and you're in the middle, let's say you're in the middle of a messy divorce and the wife accuses the husband and the kid's 4 or 5. And there will always be people who say, well, they were coached and they were told what to say. She's 35 years old. So to me, I mean, she's saying, I'm still afraid of him, but I love him. So it's not like I hate his guts or I love him. So to me, I would tend to believe what she says. She's 35 years old. Why is she going to lie about that now? No, and that's true because they don't have any. Mia Farrow does not have hold over them because she's an adult. She can say what she wants. And I think that Dylan Farrow did something that real victims do, which is give a nuanced idea of their relationships. Like when for example, Mommy Dearest, that book, when it got made into a movie, kind of lost out on the fact that the book itself, Christina Crawford, she talked a lot about loving her mother and how she was that she always felt that her mother's approval was very important to her despite the abuse. And I feel like when you read memoirs about abuse, one of the most poignant things to me is the complexity of loving your abuser. There's always gray areas. It's not black and white. Yeah. And there was this sort of debate. There was a movie, there's an Avengers movie, like a movie recently, the Marvel movie, that actually dealt with, can your abuser / love you? And it's actually like someone said to me, they can, but the sad part is your abuser's love is what's hurting you. Right. And it's twisted because they're sick. They've got a problem. They've got, it's just sick. And the love you have for them is bad too. So for me, I appreciate this documentary for getting into that nuance. And the first episode is on HBO Max. I do recommend it. And the filmmakers have said very specifically that they don't try to make two-sided stories. They want to present the narrative that comes naturally to the interview. So if Woody Allen and Sidney Previn and Moses Farrow, they have their side, if they didn't come forward, they're going to get stuck with it. And I think it was a bad idea to say no to the documentary if they wanted their side. Yeah.
Well, real quick, Woody Allen, of course, talented filmmaker, and they made some great films, but I think he's kind of sick and twisted. And the fact that he married his daughter and everything, I think he's guilty. It's my 2 cents.
No, oh yeah, you're definitely free to say that. No, I definitely am more inclined to believe Dylan Farrow over anything else. Yeah. To be a little bit more, like, say, go watch the documentary. Trust me, make your own judgments. Yeah. But I feel like the smoke is there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of smoke, and
there's probably a fire. All right, we're going to be back with Luca from Frankie's Old World Italian Bakery in just a bit on the Culture Corner.
The curtain rises on local and regional arts and entertainment. From music to theater, films to fine art, it's the Culture Corner. Get connected. Call 760-544-TALK. That's 760-544-8255. Here's Bonnie and Brayan on iHub Radio.
And we are back on the Culture Corner. We're now joined by one of my favorite people, Luca Arias from Frankie's Old World Italian Bakery, and of course Frankie's Back Room. They have great music, and they've got all kinds of stuff going on. Hey, Luca, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you, Bonnie?
Good. You guys are busy over there, right? Busy with bread and Italian food and people picking stuff up. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. We're doing our takeout, and that's still going on. A lot of pastries and cookies and sandwiches.
Yeah, they've got. Boy, I tell you what, you've got to check. Have you ever been there, Brian? You need to go.
I've gone there once, but I want to go back again because now that he's saying all this, I'm hungry.
I'm telling you, they've got.
I got to eat something.
Great Italian, lasagna, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, bread, desserts, really great stuff. But also they have music, and Frankie's is really the only place in the Valley that has done a steady Facebook live streams from their facility since May. They do them Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 5 p.m. just like a half hour, 5 songs with different musicians throughout the Valley. I've done several of them. Eric has done several of them. A lot of great musicians. And so tell us about how you got started and who's coming up tonight and Saturday.
Oh, sure. Well, it's called Project Bread for Musicians, and it was really the brainchild of our jazz vocalist and partner here, Hope Diamond. She came up with this idea, and the way it works is people come in, artists who are out of work, as you know, so many people are still out of work during this pandemic, but they can come into our bakery, pick up a gift card. We ask our customers to drop off gift cards and help us keep this going. And when customers come in and drop off a gift card, it could be for a grocery store, gas station, pretty much anything. Well, we give the customer a loaf of bread, and then our artist comes in, asks for a gift card, and we give them also a loaf of bread. And we use our Live at Fives, we call them, our performances, our little mini shows to promote this project. So as you said, so many different artists in the Valley have come in and given up their time to do these 5 or 6 songs in the evenings. It's always at 5 o'clock, and it's on our Facebook page. And the best way to find our Facebook page is to Google us, Frankie's Italian Bakery Facebook, and then that should come up. And you can go on at 5 o'clock Wednesday through Saturday, and we always have one of our fantastic musicians doing a mini show.
And tonight I think you have Chris Bennett, and who with somebody else? Yes?
Yeah, tonight it's Chris Bennett with Rick Ross.
Oh, that's
Rick
right.
Ross is a fabulous singer, pianist, saxophone player, and they just sound great together. Chris and Rick have done a couple of shows, and tonight at 5, it'll be really should be fantastic.
And Chris is amazing. I mean, she's got a bunch of CDs out, played all over the world. She's a wonderful singer and pianist. And then Saturday, tomorrow night, it's Frankie himself. Does he have a theme for the show?
Yeah, Frankie, the mustache. He's going to be doing his little mini show of his Jerry Vale tribute.
Oh, excellent.
And, yeah, he's done his tribute a few times, once out in L.A. at the Gardenia. But out here we did it last year, and actually Jerry Vale's wife was in attendance at the show, and he did such a great job. So you'll be able to catch him doing probably 5 or 6 songs also, and I'll be narrating a little story of Jerry Vale's life and his musical career.
And Luca has become quite the cinematographer with his phone and Facebook. He films all these, and you've gotten really good at it. Do you feel? Are you? I mean, do you feel? I would imagine you feel much more confident about doing it than you did when we started out in May.
Oh, sure. I mean, learn every day because it's all new to us. But yeah, I mean, the lighting and the angles, everything. It's a lot of fun. We've just had a great time doing it. Yeah, we keep the videos on our Facebook page, so you can always go back and see all the different performers.
And now what's great, one of the many great things about Frankie's is you guys are just like around the corner, like, 3 minutes or whatever from the new casino in Cathedral City. And I really think that once everything really gets opened up again, that you're going to see a whole new crowd, a whole new, folks that maybe didn't know about you before. Because the casino, I think, is having, as I understand it, occasional entertainment, but I don't think they're going to have like constant entertainment. So if they're going to be on there gambling, and it's like, where can we go to hear jazz? Your place should be the one. Don't you think?
Definitely. We're preparing for that. We're looking forward to it. And also during COVID, so many folks have come in who didn't know about us, and we showed them the back room. And so we think there's a lot of pent-up enthusiasm. We're really looking forward to finally opening up some time with our indoor entertainment.
Yeah, now
we'll see when that happens.
Now, I know you don't want to necessarily spill any secrets, but are there any plans you guys have for when things open up that you want to share about some stuff that's coming up?
Well, not so much. Just that we're going to be all geared up and ready to go. We have just so many, and that's the other thing. By doing these live at 5s, we've gotten to meet and know so many of the artists in the Valley, also some of the musicians that have come out from L.A. So we're really confident that we're going to be just having great lineups, to come once we do get going.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out the room once it opens, I mean, you see if you watch the live streams, and the lighting is so great. The stage with the blue curtain in the Frankie's back room, it looks really, really nice, and it is a really great room. And we've talked about this before the pandemic hit, that it's kind of unique in the Valley, I think, as far as a room. The only thing that's I think maybe a little bit similar to it might be the Purple Room. But as far as being sort of a New York style cabaret, sort of intimate, it's not huge. I think you really sort of have something unique there, which I think is a big asset.
Yeah, sure. So it's definitely a unique location too. We're kind of in more of an industrial, commercial kind of area. So it's kind of surprising when people drive into our street, which is off of Perez Road in Cathedral City, and then they come in here and then we see it's a real beautiful cafe and bakery, but then we show them the back room, which is a whole other thing, and everyone's usually pretty surprised.
Yeah. It's kind of you wouldn't necessarily surprise. Now, Luca is also a performer, and I know you're working all the time, and I think you're getting better and better and better. Are you feeling more confident now when you sing a song?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm more of an MC type, but the singing, I've got I'm surrounded by such wonderful artists, and I do learn a lot from them. And I'm getting a little more confident all the time and just trying to have fun when we go and get up there on stage.
Yeah.
We do several what we call our company shows, which is when Frankie puts together like the holiday shows. You've been in most of them.
They're such fun. I love them. They're such fun. Yeah.
Yeah, they really are.
And now, let me ask you, I know, because you now your live stream, like I said, because no one else is really doing it, other venues. People are doing it from their living rooms, but you guys have been doing it steadily. Have you been surprised by anything about the performers that come in, or the caliber of performers, or anything that surprised you along the way doing this whole live stream thing since May?
Yeah, sure. I think that the caliber of the performers that have been coming in, that's been a little bit surprising. And we've worked with them now during this pandemic, and we're just looking forward to when they come back. But it has been just very special to us. I mean, we have Rose Millette coming up. We have Tommy Dodson, who hasn't done a show with us.
Yes,
He's going to be performing on March 12th, Friday, March 12th. And Rose, by the way, is going to be on Saturday, March 6th.
They're both fabulous. That's great.
Yeah, we're excited about that. And then the other surprising thing is just when the artists come in, they just love the room. They really love the sound. They love the lighting, and they feel at home. At least that's what they've told us. So.
Yeah, and that's important. So Luca, when going back to you for a moment, and you're performing, what kind of style do you feel the most comfortable with, or is there a singer or performer that you sort of that's an influence for you as far as your development as a singer?
I really like Dean Martin, Beatles, but I also like more of the newer stuff. And in fact, I'm working right now on a popular song by Maroon 5, and that's something I'm going to bring in a little later. But it's a little bit like pretty wide range. But my influence is definitely the older music.
Yeah. And let's go switch to the food for a moment. Are you guys kind of always adding to and mixing up your menu? I know I'm sure you have some regular staples that you do all the time, but Frankie kind of throws new stuff in from time to time, yes?
Oh, all the time, sure. I mean, he usually comes up with a new entree, a new salad, and whatever it is, especially the new desserts. That's why I put together a new menu every week. We change it. There's some things that are staples, and we keep them going, like the lasagna, the eggplant, the spaghetti. But then there are other items that come up they're really neat and interesting. Like right now, we have our Aussie-style prime rib pies, which are just outrageous. They're so good.
Prime rib pie, did you say?
Yeah, it's prime rib pie.
Wow, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, and that's not Italian, but it's very good. Once in a while he just goes all over the place and comes up with nice hits like that. Yeah. And
so people know. Tell us are you still closed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? Tell us your days and hours.
Yeah. Yes, we are here Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
Okay, and people can people call ahead and order stuff and then just come pick it up, or go to the website? What's the best way to do that? Yeah,
the best way, they can call and order ahead. Our menu is online. Our website is simply frankiesitalianbakery.com.
Okay.
We have our menu there, and I also have a newsletter that I send out every week to let people know what our new items are, and also who will be performing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I didn't mention is that we have pizza on Saturdays.
Ooh,
and that's really taking off.
Yeah. And if someone is listening, there is a local performer out there who might want to be part of one of the live streams. What should they do? How should they contact you?
Yeah, they could just call us at the bakery and let us know, and then stop by, and we'll talk to them and hopefully get them on there. Also, if an artist is in need of a little bit of help, they can stop by for their gift card.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can give you our phone number if you want.
Yes, please do. Yes.
760-770-1300.
All right, 770-1300. Excellent. All right, so again, live stream tonight, 5 o'clock, Facebook, Chris Bennett with Rick Ross, some fabulous musicians. And Saturday, Frankie, the mustache himself, doing his Jerry Vale show. But thank you again to you, Luca and Frankie. I mean, not only have you stayed open and done the pickup and the takeout through this whole thing, but provided music for people and a place for entertainers to do their thing too. And also the Project Bread for musicians, so that there's a place that musicians who are really down on the luck and have been out of work can come get a gift card. So it's really a win-win-win for everybody, and we really appreciate your friendship and all the work that you've done, the great food and the great music, and thank you guys. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bonnie. And we thank the entire community, because really it's everybody pitching in, the artists, the customers, everybody wants to kind of keep this whole thing going, and they're helping us out with that, too.
Absolutely. All right, Luca, say hi to Frankie. Give him a hug for us. Thank you so much.
I sure will. Thank you so much, Bonnie and Brian.
All right. We'll see you soon. All right.
Okay.
Luca and Frankie, great place. Frankie's Italian Bakery. Check it out. Live stream 5 o'clock, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right. We'll be back with more on the Culture Corner.
You're listening to Bonnie Gilgallon and Brayan Mendoza, talking arts and entertainment on iHub Radio's The Culture Corner. Live from the desert cities of Southern California, here's Brayan and Bonnie.
And for this segment, we're going to get into something a little bit more light, just to kind of, because that was a really good interview, Bonnie.
Thank you.
Positive vibes. I always love the interviews.
Yeah, because we have sometimes we have some negative news stories, so we got to mix it up. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily super positive, but it is a new streaming service. So if you already have CBS All Access, that will now be rebranded as Paramount Plus. So if you already have it, you're going to have to get upgraded. So if you're already paying the $6 a month, now you have to pay $10 because it's now a new thing. Mm-hmm. So Paramount Plus will now will lean into all the products under the parent company Viacom CBS, which will include anything on CBS that they own, MTV, BET, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, and the Paramount Network, along with movies from Paramount Picture Studio. So anything that they own the rights to still, they will now be on Paramount Plus. And a lot of stuff that's coming out on Paramount Plus will include a Flashdance television series, a Fatal Attraction TV show. They will have a new SpongeBob TV series. They will have a new Avatar: The Last Airbender series, which was a popular Nickelodeon show. They will also try to have a TV show based on Halo, and they're also going to come up with a new series of Criminal Minds. So there's a lot of stuff they're trying to bring back. Same with the Italian Job, new Star Trek shows, and Rugrats, iCarly. So I'm name dropping all these things so you can get a good idea of like the types of programming that will be on there and what they own. And RuPaul's Drag Race will be on there too, so they will have a bunch of like other brands too. So you'll see some things. Mm-hmm. Frasier's coming back as a revival on this streaming service instead of NBC, which mm-hmm. would have been Peacock.
Yeah,
that's complicated. That's its own thing. But they also will have Grease, The Rise of the Pink Ladies, a prequel series. Mm. They will also have The Game, which is a TV show from BET, coming back. And Behind the Music will have new episodes, and they will also have a revival of 60 Minutes specifically for Paramount Plus. And so you'll have a lot of programs on there. Like you'll have a lot of programs, and the shows that were already on CBS All Access, like The Good Fight, which is a spinoff of The Good Wife, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. that will come back and continue. Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Discovery, and Why Women Kill. So you'll have all this programming, and it will be for $10.99. Mm-hmm. Pay me, Paramount, because I'm doing free commercial for you, basically.
Brian wants his cut. Yeah.
Right? And it's $10.99 for the non-ads and $6.99 for ads. And I will say that this sounds intriguing in my opinion, but mm-hmm. it almost feels like it's getting closer and closer to cable.
I wanted to ask you a question because there's some, and part of it, obviously a big part of it, the pandemic has caused more networks and movie companies say, hey, how can we stream stuff so people can at least see content because they're not going to go sit in the movie theater yet. Do you see this? Because I don't have any of them. We just have regular, we have Spectrum, we have regular TV, and but we don't pay for any of the streaming things. And my question for you would be, do you think this is the wave of the future? I mean, will we always have just regular TV that you don't have to pay extra for in addition to all these streaming things?
I would like to say that I'm hopeful that network television, which is where you can just mm-hmm. get the box and mm-hmm. all that and don't have to pay for cable, I would hope that sticks around, but I feel like streaming services, I feel like we have to jump on
are here to stay. Yeah. They're not going anywhere.
No, they're not. They're accessible. They're easy to like figure out, and people I think are getting tired of commercials. I think they're mm-hmm. willing to pay the extra
to not have to. Yeah.
And sometimes like I'm gonna be honest. Like when I have Peacock, I've checked it out, the free ad version of it, and I thought, why is the ad showing up in places that it shouldn't be? Like, I was watching a horror film, and right when something scary is about to happen, ad. It takes you out of the experience. I feel like they also do it with TV shows where the sitcom they would have, there are commercial breaks when you watch it on DVD. Let's say you're watching like Cheers on DVD. You'll have the commercial breaks because they'll fade to black and then they'll fade back in because there's no commercials. They don't even do that on Peacock. On Peacock, they'll just cut in the middle of a scene, and then sometimes they'll match the commercial breaks. But for some reason, they throw in extra commercials here and there. And I thought, this is way too many ads for a literal 22-minute TV show. And I feel like streaming services are going to stay. They're going to stay for a while, and I don't know what's going to replace them later down the line because there's always something coming around, right? Yeah. But I feel like all these networks are trying to jump on the streaming bandwagon because they're scared. I mean, you would think there's no reason for CBS and NBC and ABC to all have their places in different parts. Like ABC has Hulu, CBS has Paramount Plus, and NBC has Peacock. There's no reason to have all these separated. But then you realize that, well, that's how they're going to try to survive. Yeah.
And I get that. And I mean, everyone's trying to survive. All these businesses and restaurants and venues and entertainment, everyone's trying to survive. And it's been a year now. I mean, I think it was, as I recall, March 13th. That I remember sort of the shutdown. The people that started losing gigs, Eric lost gigs, that everything would. So we're coming up on a year, like two weeks. It'll be a full year since we've been shut down, and it's like, I don't think anybody thought. I mean, I didn't think back then that this would last a year. That this shutdown, as we have been.
And I think the shutdown probably helped them out with streaming services. I think streaming services,
because everybody's at home, they got to do something. Yeah,
and you can honestly cancel cable and get one streaming service and have enough content, because there's this thing where someone said to me, there's so much content out there that you'll never ever get through it. And I said, you're right. That's the sad thing, is I'll never get to watch all the popular stuff.
I know some people that have done that. They've gotten rid of regular TV and they just have a streaming thing because there's enough on there to watch.
And I think that Netflix is still the king of everything, and Hulu is probably the second most popular one. But I think that with Disney Plus and HBO Max, especially with this year with HBO Max releasing theatrical movies that Warner Bros. Would produce on the same day as they would release it in theaters outside of the U.S., they release it in streaming here. Like there's a Tom and Jerry movie that came out literally today. And, I have mixed feelings about that. But
I got a question for you. For instance, Peacock. So Peacock's the NBC streaming thing, right? Do they also carry MSNBC, or do you have to have regular network TV to get that?
That's a good question. I never actually looked into
that. Because I watch Rachel on MSNBC. I'm never losing that. And HGTV, the Home Improvement Show, I love that one too. So
according to this, Peacock does have MSNBC on there. So,
but I can't see ever getting rid of network TV myself personally.
I don't think so either. But I'm also kind of thinking that I think the strategy of making their own streaming services is going to probably backfire, because I think not everybody wants to buy every service.
Yeah.
I think that's going to backfire at some point for Peacock and Paramount Pictures, but we never know. You
never know. All right, coming up in our next second hour, we're going to have Michelle Ogle and talk about COVID fatigue, get some therapy on the Culture Corner in a little bit, just a bit.